Shout out to US ARC and all US ARC members. If you don't know what US ARC is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what US ARC is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a US ARC member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with US ARC organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a US ARC member. And if you can't become a US ARC member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what US ARC is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every US ARC member and US ARC supporter out there.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, coolest reptile network in the world. Episode 716. Beautiful Tuesday. Beautiful All in the Tree Tuesday with Chris Applin. Tapping in from Indonesia. Weird time that we're starting because he's from Indonesia right now. So you guys are in for a treat, man. Listen, hot topic. Farm raised chondros. We're going to hear all about it because my man is really tapped in over there. And yes, I'm your boy MJ. If this is your first time listening or watching this episode, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. You'll be reminded every single episode out of the building. Bill Stiegel does it again. Jesus.
Good job, Bill. Good job.
Been a good week, boys.
Hey, just the mayor doing mayor things. That's all that is, buddy.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just wow, super blessed. What can I say? I mean, what a way to end the year.
Fucking A, right? I mean, tell me what you were just telling tell everyone what you were just telling me as far as what you're looking at in your racks now. Like, you know, the fact you got this many in December, not typical for you.
Well, this time of year, the racks, the hatchling rack should be empty.
Yeah.
But I've got the 20 that hatched today and establishing that flu clutch of 13. So
wow.
30 plus still in the hatchling rack now, which is it's a nice problem to have. I'll just leave it at that.
20 for 21, buddy. That's pretty awesome. I'd be really happy with that with the clutch outcome of like this.
Yeah, and you know what? I went back to doing just the old school way of incubating these.
Wow, look at that one.
87.5 straight bait, no temperature drops at the end.
You see that one, Marshall? Look at that one right there. Look.
And the one that one and the one next to it to the right.
Look at that one. Bill, come on. Talk to me, Bill. What the fuck, dude?
I mean, this is what Freight Train does.
Those are nuts right there. Those are.
And there's one more. There's one more to the left too.
There's about
God.
6 or 7 of them that are just, very, very dark, near patternless. Some of them have what pattern they do have is all black.
Yeah, right there.
Dude. Yeah, it's just what Freight Train does. He's just what a beast. His third clutch to sire in 2025. Outback and Pathogen both yielded mid-teen neos, and then this clutch of 20. I think that's probably one of the biggest clutches I've ever had. I think I had one other that maybe hatched 20 or 21. But this is,
oh my God. I just can't get over that. Look at that. I just can't, bro. That's a dream right there.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. And there's some other crazy ones in there.
Quite a few from what I can see.
Yeah. I can't probably get them separated on Friday. Have a better look at them. But from what I can tell so far, they all perched. Every single one of them is perched, which is a good sign. So Just now we just go day to day with once they shed in the feeding trials.
Yeah. So you didn't drop the temps the last week at all?
No, not at all. Just this one was very interesting. I had a Neo that I think pipped the earliest that I've ever had one pip. He pipped on day 44. And then I didn't have any others pip until day 47. And then I had a couple more pip day 48 and the rest pipped on day 49. I artificially pipped one on day 49. There was one egg that hadn't pipped yet. So I pipped it and that one ended up coming out and was fine. But day 44 is pretty early.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
You know, it's not shocking. Like, we hear so many weird things happening when it comes to breeding and hatching out things. I think every now and again you'll get something funky like that. You would say like a one-off, like,
yeah. I mean, my normal practice is to usually wait 24 hours and pip the rest of the clutch. But there's no way I was going to pip on day 45.
Yeah. The same ball pythons.
So what was the range? 44 to 49?
44 to 49.
For them to self-pip or for them to come out?
Every single one by day 49 had pipped itself except for one.
Wow.
I pipped one on day 49, but the rest had self-pipped.
Well,
pretty much, pretty much the way you want to see it go down. You know, I don't like to artificially pip. I love to see that little slit that they make themselves.
Yeah,
I do. I am a pipper, no doubt about it. I know all you guys are too. When you think the time is appropriate, you just sometimes don't know when that time is.
Yeah, but nothing's better than just walking out and just seeing them all doing it on their own. Like that's
absolutely. See that slit. You know, you always worry about the ones that self-pip, you know, they crawl halfway out or 25% of the way out and then they die. I certainly had that happen this year, but not in this clutch. Not in this one.
Fucking A, dude. And Bill, real quick, before we get to Marshall, you got stuff about to be paired up again here pretty shortly.
I'm already pairing stuff up. I've got four pairings that have already locked. If you include the one up at Buddy's, Buddy starts pairing a couple of months before I do, but the female up there is already ovulated, had a nice ovulation. So it's definitely going to be 2026 is going to be certainly isn't going to compare to 2024 and 2025 production wise, just because I need to rest some girls and I just need a little air, you know, need a little break. So it's going to be a smaller 2026 year, which is perfectly fine with me.
More power to the mayor, dude. Fucking A.
I appreciate all y'all's support and, been so lucky and blessed in all of this, especially this year. But just kind of a dream come true. And I look forward to you guys and everybody in the chat and everybody that follows this podcast. You know, I wish them to have the same success and the same luck that I've had. It just takes time and perseverance and, just being patient and, I'm not doing anything magical over here. I'm doing all the things that we discuss every week. I don't have any secret sauce. I'm not doing anything that everybody that follows this podcast knows. So it's not rocket science. Just be persistent, be consistent, and good things will happen.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's not easy. It certainly is a lot easier when you have a lot of, you have a lot of time on your side, like I've had over the last decade or two. That makes it easier. Certainly isn't easy. But the fact that, I'm just here and have the ability and the blessing to be able to do it full time makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, man. Listen, some people are just put on this earth to breed chondros. And you're one of those people, Bill. This is just chalk it up to that, right?
Well, like I said, it's not all on me. It's a lot of this is the community. And I say people like Marshall, who were my mentors and people that I aspired to be like when I was young and wet behind the ears. These guys have taught me so much, and I'm just so happy to be a part of this podcast, because I think we help, a lot of people and give, a lot of people encouragement and show them that it can be done. And this is how you do it. And, before a lot of downfalls with social media and podcasts and all that, whatever you want to say. But I think this has been so easy to share information. It's just been a great platform to share information.
Yeah, man, couldn't agree more. And Marshall, I know you have a female that's in the rack right now, getting ready to lay. I mean, she's on the same exact day as my girl. We're on the,
I think so,
on the same page. Yeah. But other than that, anything else looking promising right now, or what's currently happening?
I'm gonna start pairing stuff back up again this weekend. I brought the male I was talking about on the last show from Brian Susan. I got him in the room finally, so nice. I'm gonna try him with somebody. Try him with a female that is was not receptive to the male that I put in there with her, who was the male she bred with last year, but. So I'm going to try him on a couple of them and see if that does anything. Plus, the weather's cooled off quite a bit. It's been about a month since I've had anything together. So, when they would run away from each other. So I think a month of cooler weather since then, and steady feeding. So we'll see. Giving it a try here in the next couple of days. Repairing.
Yep, TBD, man. 2026 is going to be interesting.
So is your female that you're expecting, she's on was it the same exact day ovulation? I think it was close.
Yeah, I think same day pre-lay shed, because yours was the 5th of December, right? Yeah,
third.
So
She was the 3rd.
Oh, my bad. So I think it was the same day ovulation then. But yeah, anyways, because she's on day 42 post ovulation. What day is your girl?
Okay,
she's around that same day.
I track it from the shed, so I don't know.
I do both, but I've just seen more accurate. It's from the ovulation, not the shed, from what I've noticed. But
I would agree with that. And sometimes they don't have that shed.
No,
so
yeah,
it's nice to have the ovulation, a succinct ovulation date. But I agree with you, MJ. I think the ovulation date is more accurate than the post ovulation shed. But having said that, they can be all over the board with the ovulation. I mean, come on, I had one this year. I can't even remember. What did we say? It went 61 days post ovulation.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's nuts.
Just super, super crazy outlier.
Wow. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we have a special guest tonight, Chris Applin. Okay. He has his own podcast on Saturdays. Saturdays, bi-weekly. Mainly talking, everything Indonesia, what he's got going on there, primarily monitors. But, if you follow him, Rare Reptiles and Prestasi, he has Kofi localities, Jaipur, I believe. I'll confirm all this, but he has some really fucking nice out of the wild animals. Or maybe they were already there when he got there. He could maybe clarify that, but has some insane projects that I feel like we're not lucky enough to have currently. And that's kind of like the thing with Indonesia, right? Like they got their hands on shit that we'll probably never get to see. You know what I mean? Only because they do like to keep the best stuff, but some of that stuff just doesn't come over here.
And it seems like it's getting harder to get stuff over here. And maybe Chris can address that, whether it's production-wise or regulatory-wise, or just seems like there's less stuff coming in over the last 5 years or so. So I love these episodes, man. When we have the Australian guys on, I love that. And, when we have the people that –
He's keeping a lot of this stuff outside too, right?
Everything's out. Oh, he has indoor stuff too. He has both, but I mean, from what I've seen, videos of the Chondros, they're outside. But again, he'll break all this stuff down for us tonight.
Yeah.
And also, too, one thing that we're going to kind of kick things off, which was a hot topic last week, was because Chris was in charge of sending a big shipment of Chondros that went to Canada, and when they finally went from the middle person who received them and then shipped it to that next person, they all eventually came down with Nido. So it was a big stir. Like it was like, dude, what was happening and stuff like that. So he's had quite the last 2 weeks, but coming down to figuring out what's happening. We're going to hear what his protocol is now and what he's doing to move forward. So at the end of the day, dude, this is going to be impactful, very informational podcast. And I'm ready to get going. You guys ready to bring Chris on or what?
I can't wait for this one.
All right, man.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. You guys are in for a treat. Do what you got to do to get your mind right, and do what you got to do to stay hydrated, because it's definitely hot in Indonesia and humid. That's a fact. Episode 716 on the Treat Tuesday. Chris Applin, Rare Reptiles, and Prestasi. Hope I'm saying that right. Treat.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes,
Tell 'em.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we're live, episode 716. What's up, Chris?
How's it going, guys? Nice to
Chris.
finally meet you, Bill and Marshall.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
Good to
likewise.
meet you. Good to meet you as well. What time is it over there in Indonesia?
It's just coming up to 7:45 now, 8 in the morning, but the next day. So I'm coming from the future. So I'll tell you how tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so, Chris, real quick, why don't you say for the record on this Tuesday, you've been living in Indonesia for how long now? Because you're from the UK,
Yeah.
and obviously you got this opportunity. So kind of explain that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really long story that I've gone through a few times. I don't want to bore everyone with it again. But I've been here for 18 months now. So I come it'll be 2 years in May. Basically, I was doing really well with the tree monitors in the UK, and I was traveling to Indonesia a lot to go and study them in the wild, take photos in the wild. Peter Folsham had been part of the farm. This farm has been established for 30 years. He's seen that I was coming over here basically so often. It's a place that he'd been before, and he said, well, why don't you go to the farm and see what's going on there? Was, oh my god, that's an amazing opportunity just to visit a farm. Has been I think was listening to you and Forrest before, MJ, and he came over with Brian, and they were point blank refused by all the farms over here. So just to get the opportunity to come over and see what was going on at the farm, there was a little caveat to that, is they weren't getting the production they wanted with the tree monitors, which is I spoke to Peter, and then just being all my life I've been pretty shy and introverted, and then I just thought, you know what, this is a little bit of me. If I open my mouth and say maybe I can come over here as some sort of deal and help you with the monitors, then that would be good, and they jumped at the option. So it's probably important to say the deal I have here. I'm like a partner with the farm, but I only get paid for what I breed over here. So anything that I don't breed, I don't get paid for, basically. So it's in my interest to breed as much. It works well for the farm, and it works well for me. It keeps me on my toes. It's in my interest to captive breed as much as I possibly can at the farm.
Damn. So breeding is what keeps your job.
Yeah, I'm very lucky in other senses. So I don't pay for any food here, and I don't pay for any housing or anything like that. But yeah, any sort of real money comes from captive breeding of the stuff I do here.
Chris, how many people are on the farm, or how many people work at the farm?
Like staff-wise, there's 30 people. A lot of those.
Oh, wow.
30, yeah,
Holy crap.
and they're not all animal people. So the farm's on 2 hectares, so it's a big farm with like a nice villa and everything, and like a pool and stuff. And then you got the main farm, which is obviously all the animals. There's a lot of people that are sort of employed from the local village, but they're sort of not in animal roles. They're in like, you know, literally some of them are just there sweeping leaves and stuff like that, or picking bananas, and, you know, very, you know, small jobs. And then as far as the animal team goes, I've probably got 3 other guys that work with me on the monitors, maybe 4. And then I think we've got 3 on the pythons.
So the green tree pythons, how much of that are you overseeing? Is that all? Is that your baby basically? Is that all you?
No. That's important thing to say as well. Is I've got 450 breeder monitors here, and obviously I was brought over to do the monitors.
Yeah.
The last 18 months has all been sorting that out, and then in my free time, I'll pop over to the pythons. I've personally got a 25 chondros that I oversee personally. Okay. But now the monitors are where I want them to be. That'll be focused. Like I said before, that's why I sort of said the more I breed here, you know, species wise and numbers wise, the more I'm going to get paid. So it's in my interest to be into everything. But it's taken them, you know, at least 18 months to get the monitors to where I need them to be.
And you said there's 450? Is that what you said?
450 breeders, yeah. So there's 250 tree monitors, and then all the others, you know, your mangroves, your crocodile monitors, pretty much every single Indonesian monitor apart from Komodo dragons, which are, you know, just not allowed to keep.
That is crazy. I had 11, and I thought I had 11 tree monitors at one point. I thought that was like insanity. You know what I mean? 200 and something, bro, is just fucking bizarre. That is, but also really, I'd pay big money to see that. I would want to see what the fuck that looks like for sure. Because I seen how decked out you do the enclosures for the croc monitors. It's like looks like a mini Jurassic Park. It's very impressive. Like it's like stuff we can't do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's been a big learning curve as well. I'm from the UK, where you can't keep anything outside for any period of time, if at all. So I've had to learn it's going to take me probably 10 years to figure out how to keep stuff outside. I'm not saying, it just is. You think how long it takes you to be comfortable with keeping stuff inside. It's not like an easy feat, and all that can be controlled. Yeah. It's like being, you know, we are a farm, and I feel like I'm a farmer now because I'm constantly looking at the weather and seeing what's going on. You know, it can be we're at 500 meters elevation here. We're actually in between 2 volcanoes, so we get like rolling fog coming through, rainstorms, and then it can be blisteringly hot. And then, you know, yesterday was a prime example where in the morning it was blisteringly hot, all the monitors were out basking, and then 12 o'clock it started raining and didn't stop raining until 12 o'clock last night. So it's hard work. It's just a different system with the outdoor stuff. You sort of have to just
different rules, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was super worried when I first came in. I was like, "There's no way this stuff is gonna survive." It drops to I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. The coldest temperature I've recorded here at night is about 19 Celsius, probably in the 50. Yeah.
The 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, 66, so about 65 Fahrenheit. So it's cold. It can be prolonged periods of that where it doesn't warm up too much in the day as well. So it's quite amazing to see how resilient a lot of the reptiles are. So it's been interesting. But we do stuff inside as well.
Chris, is the farm collecting animals on a regular basis from the wild as well to supplement your already massive breeding stock?
For the monitors, no. It all depends. We've had some green tree pythons come in. It's not as easy as just going and collecting them from the wild. You need a permit from the government to say you want to add to your found-in stock, basically. Some of the found-in stock obviously gets old and dies, and then you're allowed to replace that. But you can't just ring someone up in Sarong and say, I want 10 green tree pythons. It has to be recorded along the way. And then that person in Sarong actually has to be official as well, if that makes sense. He has to have a license that's able to ship out. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's there's a quota for, a wild caught quota for. And then they're registered for that, but you have to use those sort of, legitimate people to when you're allowed to add to your found in stock. You can't just ring them up and say, I need, 20 more chondros or whatever.
Yeah. So it's not a free for all, basically.
No. And So yeah, the CITES says as well, obviously they have to be captive bred F2 generation.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's get to this, Chris, because obviously, briefly what you just said, you're primarily rooted with monitors. Like that's been your fucking bread and butter. And then you're dipping your toes in some other species. Obviously with chondros, you learn a lot about chondros. I'm really happy that I learned a lot from imports because I got to see what a sick chondro looks like and like was able to identify when chondros just aren't looking normal. So what have you learned? Like how many of the chondros are you noticing that you guys inquire are like actually looking good at a point where they go to breeding versus they're not making it and you have to put them down or something, What's the ratio on that?
I wouldn't know what the whole thing is. The biggest problem when I got here is they were keeping quite a lot of stuff in tubs. So the issue wasn't anything to like respiratory or anything like that. It was a lot of pushing that they were getting that was causing mouth rot. So then I've designed those 25 cages outside, which has completely eliminated that problem. I spoke to Patrick a lot as well. I mean, I'd not seen chondros with blisters before. That was a massive problem here as well.
Water blisters?
From being too wet?
Too wet,
well,
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it was to do, it's 70% humidity here all the time. Even in my room now, it's probably about 70% because I haven't got the air conditioner on. And then keeping them in tubs, even though they had big mesh lids on it, it was just causing, blisters, which was a big problem, which we've solved now, which was a real positive thing by moving them into bigger glass enclosures. And then obviously, as MJ had on his podcast last week, we've just unfortunately sent out 35 chondros, and a lot of those have come back tested positive for NIDO, which obviously I'm completely gutted about. There's probably no one more gutted about it than me, to be honest. Some of those snakes I personally kept for at least 3 months, and some of those were actually my holdbacks that I'd had for over 6 months. NIDOs are
these were captive bred animals, or
yeah. We're not allowed to sell anything.
Have you done any testing of your colony, your like adults?
That's the biggest problem we've got, Marshall. There's no facility to test in Indonesia. I was literally this week, as I said to MJ, has been the most stressful week I've had. I am gutted about it. I've built up a good reputation, and especially for the farm, we've been so open and public with the farm, which has never happened before. So to have this come back is gutting. But yeah, the big problem we've got is there's no testing in Indonesia unless it's a cattle dog. There's brilliant testing for rabies or anything, of those sort of diseases. But we're probably 20 years away from getting a NIDO test here. And then the problem, obviously, with NIDO, as you guys know, is a pretty weak virus. So if we tested here, the time those tests got over to America, for example, even if that's legal, so I don't know where the legalities of that would be. But obviously, because they're a CITES animal, it's probably a bit of a grey area. I know people have been told off just for taking shed skins from Indonesia before.
Really?
It's where, from a bowline.
It's like a part, an animal or any part of the animal.
Yes.
CITES, you're not allowed to transport it across borders. That includes sheds.
That being said, the virus wouldn't survive by the time it got from Indonesia to America. The virus probably wouldn't survive on that kit anyway. So they would come back as negative. So that's obviously not what we want to do. So we're in a really tricky position. I was saying to MJ before, I've spoken to all our customers now, made them aware of it. So I think that's a responsible thing to do. We've sent 20 chondros since to the UK, and they've been told to test those animals and see what happens there. If those come back, in a high number again, then we're obviously just going to stop doing the chondros for the next year or two, and then focus on, updating our protocols here. And getting it sorted out. It's just a response. I don't want to send one sick snake out. So if it's more than even one, then I'm not happy with that. And I sort of explain that to the owner here. He's completely on board with it.
Well, Chris, I'm sure that you know that even if adult animals on the farm are NIDO positive, that you can breed them, produce them, and if you separate the babies and have keep them away from the adults than
to sell babies.
Yeah. I've personally had 2 clutches this year. Well, 3. I had a couple of coffee hours, but they slugged out. So that Aru clutch and the Jayapura clutch, those are actually in my baby monitor room, completely away from any of the other pythons. So yeah, I want to test that theory. I don't know. I don't know how solid that is or how much that's been proven.
I would say, we have enough experience here in the States that it is a proven.
That's
it's
perfect.
proven that as long as you don't maternally incubate, where the virus can be transmitted vertically, if you're artificially incubating,
You're good.
There's literally a 0 chance that the neos will come out nido positive. So that's really excellent news for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, we'll just treat the collection as is, everything's got nido. And then I need to speak to Patrick. We want to get Stephen Tillis over here. I think he did his PhD on nido. Invite him over to the farm and just see where we can obviously improve with the biosecurity we've got here. I personally think, the packing process we got here is probably where we can look at it the most. I honestly, hand on heart, cannot believe that those snakes that I had, all of those had nido. I think there's obviously been a cross-contamination at some stage in the packing process, because I would have noticed it. And like I said to MJ, I was like, mate, I wouldn't have. There's no need for me to pack a 6 snake over here. I can either not send it or send something else. And then they arrived in Canada, and I spoke to the importer there. I said, did those snakes show any sign of RI? No. I said, okay. Then she obviously sent them on, and then there's videos of people being. This is the gutting thing about it, of unpacking those snakes, and then they still looking healthy there. But then 2 weeks later, obviously showing signs of RI, and now we obviously know it's nido. But the problem with nido, again, from what I can work out, is big stress points, and they've had 3 massive stress points of bringing that virus to the forefront. They've been packed here, they've gone halfway across the world, they've been unpacked there, and then they've been repacked again. So obviously, I think that's why it's happened so quickly, maybe.
Yeah.
Good, Bill.
Oh, I was going to say the other thing is, Chris, I'm sure you have dove deeply into the nido, but these animals can be asymptomatic to their entire life.
Yep.
And so, you could absolutely pack a nido positive animal that's never had any kind of respiratory issues, but like you said, once they get stressed, then that can trigger that to have a viral outbreak.
Yeah. And any experienced chondro keeper in the United States knows, like, an adult available for purchase, a chondro proven breeder, it's not always something you just jump to. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to look into. You don't just go get an adult because you know what you're going to get. More likely, that's just not going to work out in your favor. Historically, that's what it's been about. But with babies, like Bill said, if you get them isolated after they're out, dude, and you have control of that, you're in the clear with babies for sure.
Chris, were all the animals that went to Canada, were they all adults?
No, some were babies, some were juveniles, and I think there was a few adults as well.
Okay.
But did any of the babies come back nido positive that you know of? Like, or was it just the adults?
I think the babies come back as well. Yeah,
it would make sense if the babies were exposed to the adults that were nido positive in the transport. I think that's. Sorry, Mike.
I was going to say, when you pack them up, or when you're doing husbandry, or when whatever.
All together.
With that many people, that's kind of I don't know how many people work the chondros, but once you get your protocols established, obviously it's got to be extremely strict. Like, when you touch the adults, you don't come near the babies for this day.
That was already in place anyway. From they do the babies first. That's why I really think it was at the packing stage or something. And there is only one person that actually does the chondros. He actually was Vladimir's right-hand man, and we can get into that in a bit more of a positive section. So just to wrap this up, it's important to say that obviously nido isn't an Indonesian problem; it's a python problem. And then you guys are super lucky with able to test. So it's good to get the awareness out there. No matter where you get any python, and especially a chondro python, is to test. And then to obviously the customers that have been affected by this, we've been completely transparent and open about it, and everyone is going to be made right in whatever way that they feel, is adequate, whether that's other animals they want, or if we have to look at full refunds, then that's what we'll do. The door is completely open to everything. We haven't shut this. And as soon as we found out about it, I jumped on and said, right, get those animals tested, and then give me the results, and then it'll be sorted. So I really hope that people are happy with the way that we're dealing with it. Obviously, we didn't want this situation. We don't want this situation going forward again. But please don't feel that you're not going to get sorted out. You will definitely 100% be made right.
Well, that's amazing, Chris, to step up and do the right thing. I'm sure the farm operates on pretty tight margins. So, for you guys to take responsibility and to make a, large shipment like that right to the people, that's outstanding. And I commend you on that.
And that's not typical behavior when you deal with imports that come in like that. Normally you're fucked and there's nothing there. They usually shut the door on you after that. You know what I mean? So the fact that you are willing to be open and communicate with these people and not just block them or do what some of these other people do, that's what separates you from the others for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying to you, MJ, before with carpet pythons. I was a big carpet python breeder in the UK. And we couldn't test for Nido then. But I definitely had it there, knowing what I know now. And yeah, there was no recourse for it to go back. But yeah, I just want to be treated. This game can be rough, as you guys all know. Whether it's breeding stuff, whether it's customers, whether you're a customer, it can be the most best thing in the world, and it can be gut wrenching. Like I was saying to MJ, this has been like the hardest month to 2 weeks I've had in this hobby, just of like trying to build everything up, doing really well with the monitors, and then just to be hit with this, it's like, but the responsible thing to do, and what I would want to do is to be made right. So that there's no, for us as a farm, there's no option. As long as you can, which they have, prove that was there. We're not even saying, you've got it there. Nobody's to blame, at all in this. We can't test here. Yeah. And then, there's lots of things in hindsight that we can put forward now. But as you guys are alluding to, I spoke to Bungie, the owner, yesterday, and said, why don't we just keep everything back for the next year or two, build have a positive collection that we can get our holdbacks from, move that to a secure area, obviously increase our protocol, and then, just build it up again that way.
Yeah. Well, again, good shit, man. I got to ask you, I want to get back to the topic of, dealing with indoor versus outdoor breeding with the chondros, which you've already had success. Like, what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for females to look like they're building follicles, or are you just pairing? Are you feeding them a certain way? Let's get into how you're actually breeding chondros outside in Indonesia.
So far, we until I got here, they weren't doing anything outdoors. So like I sort of said before, those is probably from being a monitor keeper. Those outdoor ones I've done is like they were getting the problem with pushing indoors. A lot of their faces were getting pushed. Right. I was like, if a monitor was doing that, number one, it's probably hungry, but you can't just keep slamming snakes with food so much. I was like, in the wild they don't do this. If we can make something as close as it is to the wild, keep them. Those cages are probably 7 foot by 4 foot by 3 foot wide. Put them in there, make it really naturalistic, and then do it that way. Will that stop and the blister thing as well, where they're fully mesh cages with a great deal of airflow, which is hard for us to do inside. It gets very humid very quick inside, and then you've got that blister, and it has solved all those problems. But as far as breeding, that's only been done in the last 4 months. So we haven't, next year will be to see if that works out there. So yeah, all the clutches I've had were from indoor, really standard. Are they 2 foot cubes, 2 or 3 foot cubes? I can't remember what they are of those glass cages. Yeah,
it's amazing to hear, where you have problems with too much humidity. That is rarely the case with captive keepers. Certainly, I think anywhere in the world, Europe, certainly here, the vast majority of people have problems with not being able to maintain enough humidity. So, to hear that you're dealing with an overload of humidity is just, it's just a different problem to hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's been a massive learning curve. It's same in the UK where you just don't have enough humidity. I mean, humidity is great, but it comes with a caveat of having airflow. If you've got too much humidity and not enough airflow, it just doesn't work out. So you need to get the two in balance, really. And I think actually being too humid for a lot of these reptiles and chondros seem no different is probably worse than actually keeping them a bit drier and dealing with, stuck sheds and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the worst case that happens, with not enough humidity is, as long as they're hydrated, you have low humidity, then you get stuck sheds. And, that's for the most part pretty easy to fix.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you incubate these babies, because I remember seeing a video in Africa of like guys incubating ball pythons in Africa, all in the open. Like it was like literally just open. Obviously because that's where they're from, so it makes sense. But how are you doing incubation in in a facility like where you're at with, they're basically in their natural territory? So how's that work?
They're just incubated the same as you would do probably in America. They're in artificial incubators. I'm a monitor guy, and a bit like I think you were saying before, Bill, the guys here before were doing that grid method over water, and then that was causing a lot of problems with, eggs getting very wet. So I actually spoke to Ryan Young. Ryan Young's been to the farm, and, these are my personal, breedings. Like I said, I've had the 2 breedings with the Jaipurs and arrows, and I was like, mate, can I not just put these on substrate? He's like, yeah, that's what I do. So they were incubated. I always have to convert it back. About 87 Fahrenheit, straight baked, and that vermiculite in there. It's like 400 grams of vermiculite and 300 grams of water, and it seems to work. But yeah, those are just the Python incubator is just a big indoor walk-in incubator, and then it's just got a literally an oil-filled radiator and a thermostat in there, and then obviously the monitor ones are a little bit smaller. We're just building 2 more incubators now. One will be another Python incubator, and one will be a monitor incubator, and they'll just both be walk-in incubators. But yeah, no different. We can't really just put them on a shelf or anything because it gets so cold here.
Ryan Young won't say it, but like I feel like he looks down on people who don't put the eggs directly into the substrate. Like he's like, dude, you're not fucking that. You know what I mean? So, and I gotta say, I don't trust my measurements. I feel like I can. I think I'm just being a bitch, and that's why Ryan's clowning. But I don't know, man. I do think it's awesome being able to directly put them into the substrate, but I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to fuck it up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I had massive success with doing carpet pythons in those sim containers, like 100% hatch rates, everything brilliant. Then I went to breeding the tree monitors. I was like, this will be easy. I'll just put them in the sim containers. And unfortunately, they just didn't work for me. Even though it's like 100% humidity in there, the eggs started crumpling down. And then it's very hard with those sim containers to, unless you put like moss in there or something like that, you need some sort of contact on that egg to, you rehydrate it basically. So with all the monitor stuff I do, it's direct in perlite, and then I can add water to the perlite if needs be. And then, I spoke to Ryan, who helps me greatly, obviously, with the Python stuff. I was like, how do you do it? And he's like, people make it too complicated. You know what Ryan's like, just chuck them in some vermiculite at this, and it worked. And those eggs, I was super worried about those, and even Ryan sort of said to me about it, of them getting wet. And for some reason, they got pretty wet and had no problems.
Really?
So, I mean,
got water, like water dripped on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's
wow.
Probably dealing with our humidity as well.
I mean, you can kind of tell with, like, if you kind of go back and look at the eggs, you'll see like an egg that's turning green. Like
it looks super wet.
It looks super wet. So this is what I was trying to avoid, but you obviously had success with it. Like it worked for you. So I think
the same with the monitor eggs over here. I don't like them getting wet. So if I see any moisture on the lid or anything, I wipe it off. But it wasn't like a death sentence that I think it was Maxwell's book or whatever, of they cannot get wet whatsoever.
Yeah, technically, it's a big no-no. You don't want that.
Yeah, which is, I don't want people to start, putting a shower on their eggs or anything and saying, Chris, why have you?
ball python people are coming into chondros by the day, and if you see how these fuckers hatch their ball python eggs, they put a food seal wrap in the egg box, and by the time it's day 52, dude, when they open up, you just see all the water. It just comes down like a fucking waterfall all over the eggs. The snakes are fine. There's no issue with them, but it just baffles me because I feel like I don't do that first and foremost. I used to, but I was like, what is such an unnecessary step? Like, if your humidity's fine, you don't need a food seal wrap. And I never understood the whole water over the eggs thing, but because I would feel like in the wild that's not happening. They're not getting drenched with water in the wild. But then again, I don't know. We don't.
Yeah, they obviously get maternally incubated in the wild, and I'm pretty sure that female's not letting them get wet. But it was just an interest. Like I said, it's purely anecdotal. I just deal with a lot of moisture on the lid, and like you were saying, when I'm lifting the lid off, a lot of it drips on the water. I'd have to be in there probably twice a day wiping that lid off, so they got wet.
Hey, real quick, what's the humidity in the room that the incubator's in? Like, is it high because you're Indonesia? Like, is humidity high everywhere you go in that facility?
Yeah, pretty much. I've never actually measured it. I've never measured humidity on any eggs, even the monitor eggs. I just look at the actual condition of the eggs themselves and be a bit more worried about the temperature. If you walk into that incubator, it feels humid. It's like walking into a humid room.
Dude, I bet you don't even need to put water on that substrate and they'll still hatch. Because how fucking humid it is where you're at. I guarantee, like, you do half the water you put, and even a dry layer, and I guarantee those eggs will probably hatch because where you live.
Yeah. So that's what I've done with the monitors. The monitors in the UK, the perlite would be 1-to-1 ratio of perlite to water. I've halved that in the incubator for the monitors. So they're at like 150 grams of water and 150 grams of perlite and 75 grams of water. So it's half what I'm used to, basically.
Half and half.
And, no, not half and half, like half of of the 1-to-1 ratio, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I've had to put air holes in there, which I've never had to do in the UK. Never had any air holes in the incubation boxes. So it's all a learning curve. Like I said, with the green tree pythons, I'm right at the infancy of it, building up the projects, and trying to do stuff outside, and then obviously have more success inside. An interesting, like I said, a bit of a positive and probably a cool story that people don't know. So Vladimir was actually brought over to this farm by Bunji, the owner of this farm. So Vladimir, if people don't know, is probably one of the best chondro breeders, definitely the best chondro breeder in Indonesia, and sort of someone I obviously idolize now, being over here trying to do the same sort of thing. But yeah, he was brought from Moscow Zoo to this farm, Prestasi. He was here for a year, obviously doing the chondros and some Boland's pythons. Unfortunately, Prestasi wasn't as established, wasn't making as much money. So Cameron actually come over and headhunted him for Bushmaster. So he actually come over.
So Chris, he was at your farm before he went to Bushmaster.
Yes. So Bunji was actually the person that brought him over from Moscow Zoo, because they were doing quite a lot of work with Boland's pythons even back then. I think Bunji had organised him to go and look for Boland's in the wild. But yeah, he came over to this farm, and then obviously he was given a better deal after a year from Bushmaster. So it's always a bit of a sore subject. But then Bushmaster, I don't know the ins and outs of it. Bushmaster possibly had a falling out with him. He left that farm, and Bunji actually had him back here to this farm here. But unfortunately, he actually passed away in the room I'm sitting in now. Very morbid.
No kidding. I did not know that he went back.
Damn.
Yes.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Hey, Chris, I was going to ask you, how many Indonesian farms are there now that are actively producing green tree pythons?
So there's five farms that are allowed. Is it five? 5 farms that are allowed to. So there's some farms that are only allowed to do wild caught quota stuff, and then there's 5 breeding facilities. There's Danny, Ganalan that people might know, Bushmaster. It's still going, but that seems to have it's been taken over by his son basically. And I think Cameron's not got the involvement with it now. So they seem to have slowed production, obviously, to when Vladimir was there, from what I know from the outside of things. And then there's a few other ones that have got a license to breed. But I'm not invited to any of the other farms, obviously. They don't want me there. And they actually get pretty annoyed with me posting like what we do. because they've all been so secretive. Even Bungie, who's the owner of this farm, it's taken him a long time to allow me to, say what's going on there. I just think it's a good thing to be open with the farms going over, because there's a lot of stuff, that might have been happening previously. And, it's got a lot stricter over here as well. We've just gone through a massive audit over here by the government and CITES to make sure everything's all right. They've put new things in place where it'll be run more as a zoo, things like log books, stud books, all that sort of stuff.
That was one of my questions before you came on, Chris, is it seems like there is less availability of imports from Indonesia in the last 5 years. Is it because of increased regulation over there, or is it decreased production, or what do you think is probably the cause of that?
A trifecta of all of it. Vladimir was doing really well with the stuff with Bushmaster. They were the best at doing it. They had the best production, best everything, and then that obviously did seem to tail off when he passed away. Basically, you can see sort of a trend of it tailing off, and then obviously, the regulations have got a lot tighter of proving the legitimacy of the animals being audited, and then it's people have probably had some loss of trust in the Indonesian stuff, maybe some bad shipments like I've just gone through now. So it's probably a trifecta of everything where people may not be ordering the stuff. The other one we see is obviously you guys in the US and in Europe are doing so much better now with captive breeding in country. So maybe the demand for it is not there when you can get a captive bred one in your home country. So it's probably a mix of everything.
Yeah, but then again, like I'm somebody who couldn't afford much when I first started. I couldn't only afford imports. As much as I was staring at Bill stuff and other people's stuff, I just at that time, spending anything more than $1,000 was so out of my league. I should even say $500 at that time. I was broke. But then again, I was able to find a way because of imports. And my situation was unique because of Forrest, man. Like Forrest got me good buddies with this importer that we were getting stuff from. So anytime I would get something really fucked up, I would call him pissed off, but he would fix it. He would somehow make it right and then send me something that was solid. And I'm like, all right, I'm happy now. And I was, I think only because we were all friends at that time, and so, but then when I found out, when I started talking about this guy, I would have people come to me saying yo, I caught this fucking snake and it's missing an eye or some crazy shit, and he wouldn't take care of him. He would just be like, "You're fucked." And there was a list of these people, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I had to cut ties. I'm like, "That's fucked up," and I just knew I was getting taken care of because the friendship with Forrest and all that. But man, it's just like I said. Normally, man, it's not it's a win-lose, but with the losing sucks, because it's bitter.
Well, I think Chris makes an excellent point. When I was doing ball pythons, first got into it 25 years ago, there was a huge number of imported ball pythons coming out of Africa. Now, how many are there?
Hardly any. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if there are any anymore. And it's because production in Europe and the United States have just dominated the market, and there's no need to go to Africa to get your ball pythons anymore. So, I mean, it makes sense a little bit. Trying to compare green tree pythons to ball pythons is like apples and oranges, but you're right. I think there is more local production on all scales, high-end stuff and locality stuff. So makes a little bit of sense that the demand might be a little bit less, but having said that, there's still a huge market. We still can't keep up with demand in the United States for what's being produced.
It's why I'm here. Basically, we need to up the standards over here to be able to not directly compete with you, but to bring it to a sort of level where it's we can offer. Obviously, the running costs here are a lot cheaper than in the US, for example. So our chondros and everything from here is always going to be a bit cheaper. But if people are getting stuff and they're not happy with it, then obviously they're going to look somewhere else. So it's just a call for standards over here and the transparency as well, which I've done with the monitors of showing stuff breeding, showing stuff hatching, and it doesn't make it that much different to buying one in say the US. The only issue you've got obviously is there's way more shipping. You guys get to ship, you know, I don't know how long it takes. Maybe they're the same day, maybe they're next day, where we've got a lot longer period of shipping and stress, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Chris, does the government care or track the different species, or are they all just what do they consider them?
All viridis now.
All just viridis?
It's all just viridis. So the Indonesian team or CITES team here have to go to CITES to say that they recognize the new name. So they have to recognize that paper. And they have to bring it up at CITES. I mean, they're going to say, right, we've read this paper, we agree with it. I know one of I know Dan, and Amir's the head of BRIN over here, which is the scientific authority. He was on that paper as well. So he knows that they're different species. But it's a case of going through CITES can take a long time. So they would have to go to CITES, say we recognize that name basically, and then CITES adopts that name, and then that's what it is. So I think Dan Leary just had a bit of issue with some Antaresia. There's an Antaresia papuensis, which is a spotted python from New Guinea. The Indonesian government actually recognized that name, and that's what come on the CITES paperwork. But because it wasn't on the CITES database, America refused that name.
Oh,
so
wow.
This is the sort of problems you can get. We're fully on board with that name over here. We agree with it, but because CITES hadn't adopted it, maybe on the US side or as a whole, it got sent back, and he had some issues with that. So that's the sort of issues we can run into if everyone's not working together. Another issue we have is D'Albert's pythons. So southern white-lipped pythons, there's a bit of a mess there. The name can either be Hoseri or Meridionalis. It should probably actually be Fred Parkeri. Over here, I think we use Meridionalis, not Hoseri, but the US wants Hoseri. So we've sent stuff over there as Meridionalis, which is, the name that Indonesia has accepted. But then America hasn't accepted that name. They've accepted Hoseri. So it's all a big mess, really. Everyone needs to be on the same page. So sometimes with, imagine the mess that would be caused with, you got 4 species of chondros now. And then probably ID in those ones as well. I mean, they're pretty, to the average guy in customs, a viridis is going to look very much like a poacher.
Yeah.
So how are they going to get around actually keying that animal out to say, oh, this one's got a black tail, this and this? I think it would just cause a world of hurt just to keep it viridis for now.
I think the name Hoseri is pretty sick, to be honest. Kind of feeling that name, Hoseri.
You wouldn't if you knew where it was from.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Everybody pretty much thinks that guy's a dick.
Yeah. The thing with, I don't want to give him any airtime or anything. He's just a menace. But unfortunately, if you throw enough shit at the wall, sometimes something sticks. So every now and then he's right about something, and those names stick, which is just annoying for anyone that's really.
Don't get Ryan Young started in the chats. He's probably banging the keyboard as we speak.
So the reason I brought up that Vladimir, sorry, I don't know if people found it interesting at all.
It's very interesting, and people should know that name. People that are interested in green tree pythons should know that name.
Vladimir.
Yeah. But we're lucky here. So the guy called Harso that does our green tree pythons here, he actually went from here, annoyingly, with Vladimir to Bushmaster. And then when he returned, he actually come back here, and he lives on site now. But unfortunately, I don't speak good enough Indonesian yet to have a real good conversation. I'm hoping in the future I'll be able to get some really good stories off him, because he was literally his right-hand man for looking after the stuff. So I just think it's a cool little anecdote.
Vladimir had some very interesting theories. The one to me that comes to mind is, the etiology of prolapse in neonates. And he's the one that first brought the theory of lack of calcium in the mothers. It translated to lack of calcium in the neos. They had teeth that were faulty. They would shed faulty teeth, and that would cause prolapse in neonates, which I thought was an incredibly interesting theory.
Yeah, that's what I don't know enough about the prolapse thing. Like I said, I've got those 2 clutches that I'm personally over looking after, and then I hear you guys go on about it all the time. It's like, I'm going to get them feeding, and then they're going to they're going to prolapse after that. So yeah, I'm not at that stage. I'm very inexperienced when it comes to raising any up yet.
What are you feeding your neos, Chris?
They're all on just live pinky mice. If they don't eat them, then we tend to cut a quail and use the blood from a quail and put that onto a pinky mouse. And then last resort, we actually use house geckos. So we do use geckos.
Okay,
My man.
and what about parasite issues? Are you having to treat these animals for parasites before you ship them out, or are parasites an issue because of the water source and obviously geckos, house geckos?
Again, we can't obviously test for much over here unless I obviously look into it and get in a microscope and stuff like that. And then, the adult stuff and the monitors, we use Flagyl and Panicule. That's for our breeders. But I wouldn't feel happy about, getting those babies, treating them for parasites and then shipping them out. I think that sort of people need to know that sort of lays on that. It's just another level of stress.
Yeah.
That shipping process is super stressed. And then I don't want to be, messing up gut flora and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's something, and this is probably the big topic of everything. No matter where you get a snake from, you need to quarantine and you need to test. And obviously that's heightened from where, in Indonesia, that's where that farm raised thing is an important thing to think about, basically. Even if we're captive breeding here, we've got way more things that are going on with, house geckos coming into the room, stuff being kept outside. So your quarantine needs to be upped even more than, say, it should be anyway.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that people that get an imported animal from the farm, so obviously you recommend that they test them for nido. Do you also recommend that they test them for parasites?
Yeah, I think as long as it's not going to cause an undue amount of stress. So the monitors I've got here, for example, which I can speak on a lot more, I've had here for 18 months, or I've been looking after them for 18 months. Only last week did I treat them for parasites. So it's a very tricky situation of when you do it. I don't personally think that you should get an animal in and then worry about, worms and parasites so much as getting the snake rehydrated.
Established.
And then maybe, get it established, get it feeding, get it hydrated. And then, after a year, maybe start looking into tests if you want to. I mean, I deal with loads. Nearly everything here is wild caught from, the founding stock. And they breed happily. And, it's stress that causes these things to multiply and come out. And, even with the founding stock that we get in here, it doesn't, it gets put into quarantine, especially with the tree monitors, and then just rehydration, get some weight on them. And then, look at parasites and stuff way further in the future.
Yeah, way down the line.
That's my belief. Whether people agree with me, I don't know. I've treated a lot of snakes in the past to being in Indonesia, and I feel that I've done them a detriment by shoving Panicule down their throat within the first 3 months. And it's better to get that snake not stressed. Rehydration is number one. That's what kills so many animals, is them just not being dehydrated, their kidneys, not doing well. And then, is it even an issue if they've got some parasites? If then, if it's not showing, they're not coming out in the feces, everything, even us have got some sort of level of parasite load in us all the time. If it's going to cause too much stress, then I don't know. I'm not that worried about parasites unless it's ticks and mites.
I mean, if you want to talk about stress, fucking shoving that goddamn parasite solution or whatever down their throat, man. Like, I used to have to do that a lot with emeralds because I was on this fucking tip where I was, a believer that a regurgitated emerald could fucking be cured somehow, and that's why God bless these people, man. But I get these cases where these people come to me saying, MJ, I just got this emerald. I was, where'd you get it from? A show. Okay, cool. What's next? It puked. Okay, put it in the freezer. It's over. Like, and they're like, no, well, I think I could. And I'm like, sure, go ahead. I'll be right here. Let me know how that works out. And I guarantee if you go smaller and you go higher, it's going to puke again. And that's just, I probably had so many cases of that. It was just so proven at that point. But man, it's dirty business, bro. It really is.
Yeah. We've just got 6 emeralds, wild caught emeralds from Guyana. And I was like, these are going to puke. We've got one here that's been here the whole time. It's absolutely fine. And then, speaking to you, and he's like, well, I've got that one here and it's been fine. I was like, mate, there's so much information out there from obviously listening to you, MJ. I was like, these are going to puke. They all fed yesterday, bar one. And now I'm just looking at my clock. What's the usual time from feeding to puking?
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, I was just gonna say I have a buddy DJ who's in South Africa, and he inquired a group, and he sent me pictures, and there's just a shine to these fucking emeralds, man. Like if they got that import shine, and like kind of they kind of look like they're, I don't know, dehydrated a bit. It's just those are just all like guarantees of something that's not going to be a good outcome. I just rather
they don't have to look like that though, because I've seen a few that look
good. Some of them look great,
fucking like perfect.
Yeah,
and they still puked.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know the answer to Chris's question though. Is when do they usually puke? Like if you feed them, are they going to puke the next day?
Day five. I know this answer, Bill. It's day 5. Okay, day 5 is when they puke. It's like clockwork. You want to get over that 7-day mark. If you get over that 7-day mark, congrats. Like you're not really out, because I've had them eat good sized meals and maybe the next one was slightly bigger, puke. And I'm like, fuck. And after having ones that don't puke, bro, these things can handle the biggest fucking rat. I mean, Marshall knows a breeder sized female, dude, she can handle a jumbo rat. It's fucking insane. And they don't puke. They look like they're about to puke, but they don't puke. They hold it. And so these things are meant to have big meals in them, which people don't understand because they hear the whole puking thing and they just feed them mice for like the first 5 years of their life and they just stay so tiny and small. And I'm like, dude, you stunted that fucking animal. Like that thing needs to be on rats. And a healthy United States captive born and bred emerald, they don't puke. You know what I'm saying? But again, man, you got to learn this stuff on your own sometimes.
Yeah, I'll set my calendar for around Christmas, having a pukey Christmas or a non-pukey Christmas then.
Yeah. Okay. On that topic of I'm sorry. On that topic of prolapses, did you experience any prolapses so far with your babies? Are you seeing it yourself?
No. All the Jaipuras are eating well and doing well. And then the arrows have been they haven't even had their first shed yet. And then I spoke to Hasso about it, and it's not really a massive issue that he said about it. And none of the adults that I've seen have had the problem. Like I said, the biggest problem was them pushing and the blisters, which has been solved now. But yeah, I don't know enough about it, MJ. I can let you know in maybe it'd be good to do this episode again, this sort of time next year, and then I have a bit more experience with it.
Yeah, because I'm always curious. I was on a good run of having no prolapses, and and then eventually it happened. At some point, it wasn't a lot, which I'm really happy. I only got 3, but then when you have that many numbers, I feel like you can't avoid it. It sucks. And we've had people on the show that said I've never had that happen to me, and sure, whatever. But I feel like you just can't avoid it sometimes. And, shout out to Alex Warren. We talk a lot on the phone, and, I feel like, we can go down the list of what we think causes prolapses, but I do know sometimes people don't consider is like how much of a room drop temperature their snake's dealing with. And I feel like a big meal in a baby chondro with 2 cold attempts could really fuck their system up in a sense, but again, one of many things, right, Bill? Like we could just add that to the list of things that could cause prolapses, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm still looking for the magic bullet. I will say, and, knock on my non-wood table, since I've gone to ASF pinks over mice pinks, my prolapse rate has been 0. You're looking at 75 babies now. So, again, Chris's mice pinks may be significantly different than the mice pinks that I have exposure to, or other people, have exposure to. Who knows? I thought I found the magic bullet with chicken gizzards, and that certainly didn't end up being the ultimate solution.
That was fun, though. That was a good time. Like we had fun.
That was a good run.
Yeah, we had a good episode celebrating it, and fucking, Marshall still does.
I fed a chicken gizzard today.
You're dangerous, Bill. I love it.
What was the overall outcome with that? Were they getting like neuro problems from what I've seen? Was that
Wasn't
right?
really. I didn't describe it as neuro, but more of abnormal musculature movements. Didn't look
Okay.
neuro. I've seen neuro in snakes. I mean,
Yeah.
you
But
know,
were they flailing around or not?
yeah, they just seem to have some of them lack of body tone. I think would be the best way to describe it. But the good thing is once they got off the chicken gizzards and they got back onto a rodent diet, then that dissipated in almost all of them. I'm still working with one or two.
Didn't we figure out, or didn't somebody on the show post in the chat that night that that gizzards are super high and some element or some
vitamins. So they're I'll have to go back and look. I can't remember if they're excessively high in which vitamin, and then they're also poor in other aspects. But it was probably a toxicity of some sort, either too much, whatever it is. Vitamin B12 or calcium or something. It was they probably just had too much.
Iron.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I knew you were watching Alex Warren, my boy. He's always listening. He's probably establishing babies right now. God bless him.
He's probably making a video.
But yeah, Chris, I have a topic I want to bring up, because, prices have changed quite a bit all around the board, captive bred and imports. But how are you guys determining what's being priced? Because basically it's up to you guys in a sense. We all know where things started at one point. I feel like they kind of fluctuated, but now where are things sitting at when it comes to some of this stuff being priced when you're selling it?
I mean, everyone's done. It depends what where you look at it. With not talking about chondros here, but everyone in Indonesia has MORPH market on their phone if they're into reptiles. Yeah. So you guys inflating the prices over there just has a knock-on effect, inflating the prices over here. We obviously see the prices you getting over there, and then we want a cut of it. And then with other species that we can get from the wild, where there is a wild caught quota, even those hunters there are seeing the prices. So it's just a big chain reaction, basically. It starts with your market over there, and then filters down to us.
Trickles down. Very interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that even came into how you guys would price things by looking at MORPH market. That's
epic.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because they're looking at what is worth people. What are people spending down here? You know what I mean? And so it kind of makes sense.
Is that where most of your shipments from the farm goes? Is to the west, whether it be America, Canada,
Europe? All over the place. Korea, Japan. That's another thing that probably comes into it as well, which is the emerging markets like Korea and stuff are happier to pay higher prices for stuff. So then if we put a list out and we can get more money from, Korea or Japan or something, then that obviously brings the price up for everyone else as well. We're not going to lose out on sales when we can sell them to another market. So,
has the tree monitor market increased? I mean, the green tree python market price-wise is
the whole of Indonesia.
Yeah.
I think sorry to cut you off, Bill. The whole across the board, COVID had a massive impact as well. And this is the other thing that people don't really realize with regulations, how they are within your country and then in Indonesia itself. There is like a possibility that some of these species won't be available in the future. Like, that's not me creating hype. That is, we've literally just had it with blue tree monitors. They're like, ESA come in. That's, your market is then, no more blue tree monitors there. And those people and the governments and stuff are always looking at, protected animals, protected species, which green tree pythons are protected in Indonesia. Wouldn't be surprised if they made that stricter and stricter and stricter. Other countries were like, no, we don't want to do it. So that's had a big effect. And I think COVID showed that effect where they weren't getting any imports really out of Indonesia. People were like, oh my God, there's no savu pythons here. Oh my God, there's no this here. There's no that here. Because, they've been relying on a bit of a supply coming through from Indonesia. So, I mean, I'm a real big locality guys. I know you're not so much with these designers.
Hey. Come on, dude.
But yeah, you could easily, some of these localities, and you're probably seeing it now, are probably could easily drop off and not be available.
Like, I'm normally not into JV sports, but sometimes they're cool. You know, I go watch the sophomores play and they're fucking, you know, have some good games, but kind of varsity level. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of just stick to Marshall and Bill. Just sorry, Ryan. Fucking have fun. Have fun, guy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said it's just, the problem is it's hindsight of everyone. The locality thing will go better than, well, higher than the designer thing as soon as that you're told you can't have something.
There you go.
Just be aware of that. It's like, you can do your design. This is my take on it. Do your designer stuff, but maybe in my ideal world, everyone would have just one locality project. You know, someone does BIAC, someone does Coffee House, someone does that one, and that, you know, that ticks over as well, rather than just focusing on the designer stuff. But
well, I think you're absolutely right, Chris. The minute that people are told that they can no longer have a Ruse or Coffee House or whatever the case may be, that's when they're going to want it.
Yeah. That's what happens.
And let's not forget too, man, like there's some fucking freak of nature snake out there, probably a pied chondro that we don't even know yet. And guess what? If it is or found, you fuckers get it first. That's kind of what happens. You guys get all the most thrown off curveball type shit that, you know, remember that blue BIAC we put up here not too long ago? A few months back, I saw a picture of a BIAC that it was all blue and specks of yellow on it. It was so unique. But like, you know, shit like that, man, like that's a possibility for where you're living at right now. You don't never know what's coming, dude.
Yeah. And like I said, there's real big emerging markets in Korea and other places where, you know, they're paying silly money, not from us, but, you know, they're paying silly money for these unique species. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but I'm more worried about the just localities. I'd be gutted if you guys can't keep an arrow or can't keep a Coffee House, a prime one. Like, that's a designer animal in itself, like a naturally occurring designer animal, pretty much. And then, like, you know, not to bash anyone, but the first thing, and Ryan says this, the first thing that anyone did was breed it to a load of BIAC, probably.
And that's the right thing to do. Shout out to the BIACs.
Oh my God.
The superior locality, BIACs. We all know the truth.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that happens here with being able to get legal stock, sometimes we can't get those localities again.
Yeah.
Like, wow. We might, you know, get rid of them, sell them, whatever happens to them, and then we might not be able to get. There might be no one there actually being able to get artifacts or whatever the locality, you know, insert name of locality here. So then they're gone completely. So,
yeah. What would be
when you say you can't get them? Is that because they can't be found, or because you can't get the permit for that area, or what? Because if they're all Viridis,
if there's nobody collecting there in the home range, and they've gone on to, you know, fishing or something like that, or logging trees or anything, and there was savvy pythons have been, you know, really hard to get hold of. There has to be something there established. Clastolepus is a massive one. There's something we're allowed a legal. It's really small quota on it, but we're allowed a wild caught quota of the Moluccan pythons. Mm-hmm. Now, there was a guy in Ambon that was legal and able to send those snakes out there. Well, he stopped doing it because the market, when you guys couldn't sell them for like $75 each, which was what happens, which is, you know, insane to say. Obviously, the farm stopped ordering them. So then he's out of a job. So he's moved on to doing whatever he does now. And then you guys finally realized how cool, not you guys, everyone realized how cool Moluccan scrub python was. Everyone starts demand goes up, the price skyrockets. Yeah. And then, you know, we're scratching around trying to find a legitimate source of them that can do it legally. And you know, it's hard work. So, yeah, it's a catch-22. If it's too available, the price plummets and nobody wants it. And then, you know, we lose some of these species. Savus is a massive one, Savu pythons. So,
but man, Moluccans, I miss them. I'm not gonna lie. Those were some badass fucking animals, dude. Scrubs in general. I mean, I feel like, you know, I'm locked in with my species, but if I had the space I could add that next species. I'd probably go back to scrubs just because I miss them that much. They're that fucking sick. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. What I got to ask you on that topic, how much of the scrub stuff are you looking to send over here?
We've got a tricky one with the scrub pythons. So I think, is it Amethystina are banned into Florida? So our distributor is Michael Cole in Florida. He's our sole distributor for the USA. Okay. So we can only send him stuff like Tracier, Clastolepis and stuff like that. So the Amethystina is hard to get over there, basically. Well, we got no choice. We can't get it over there. But we work with a decent collection of scrubs. I've got, I think it's 15 Moluccans now that I'll be trying to breed to get captive bred ones. We've got a few localities of, Halmahera scrub pythons. So they're there, but it's not like on the forefront, especially for me with the amount of monitors and stuff I got to do. But, like I said at the start, as much stuff as I can captive breed is good for the farm, good for the customers, and good for me.
But monitors, priority.
Monitors are number one. Yeah, that's my bread and butter.
Hey, man, you can't take that away from you. I get it. And what's cool is like the opportunity, how many of those you get to work with right now. It's like you're probably like a fucking kid in a candy store.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, some of the stuff I wouldn't have even able to be kept in England, just, crocodile monitors. There's no way I could have built anything that would be suitable for a crocodile monitor. And then, this is what I'm so gutted about, obviously, this shipment that's gone out. I've bred 4 world first species of monitors this year. And then two of those species will be new to the hobby. They're like a brand new species of the hobby, which obviously I'll let people know when I've got enough of them together, captive bred, I'll be releasing those. So like I said, this hobby is like massive, massive highs and then these gut-wrenching lows.
Preaching to the choir, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you go. Yeah. I mean, the Chondros is like another step above that from everything I hear.
Yeah, sure is. All right, Bill, let's go around the horn and we'll do wrap-up topic. We only have about 9 more minutes left, and it's my cutoff time. Got to go fucking clock in. And
you got to take care of that newborn.
Yeah, no, dude, I wish. I have Leo, dude. I have fucking Monster Madness. Fucking, I gotta like trick him into a bath. I'm getting pretty good at it, but some days, man. Anyways, all right, Bill, what's your wrap-up question or topic for Chris?
Oh boy, Chris, have you ever been to the U.S.?
Only to fly into LA and fly up. No, I'm going to say no of that. I've never been there on any sort of holiday or anything. I'd love to go, obviously.
Okay. All right. Well, you're welcome here anytime. Obviously. Awesome. I think it'd be awesome if you made a trip here. Checked out. There's some incredible monitor collections here in the U.S. and obviously some Chondros stuff too. So,
just so far away now. That's the issue. I mean, I've got Ryan and Nick over there who come on that trip with me. We had a blast with them. I've got Brian, who's a friend who does the tree monitors. I've always wanted to go to like a Daytona show, so it's going to happen at some point. But I couldn't be any further away. It's probably easier for me to fly back to England and then come over to the US now. But yeah, thank you very much, Bill, for the offer.
That was going to be my second question. How often do you get back home, or do you have any desire or reason to go back home?
Not really, unfortunately. I mean, my algorithm now is just how screwed up the UK is. I don't want to get into any politics or anything. I'm not into it. But
that would be another episode we could do.
Yeah. I invite everyone over to here now. I was like, why stay in England where it's cold and all this stuff's going on? Come over to Indonesia. I'll take you to Bali and you can get a holiday out of it.
And in my last question, Ryan Young is a madman. He travels everywhere. What is the safety of traveling to Indonesia right now?
Like ridiculously safe. Safer if you're talking about Papua or in Indonesia.
I'm talking about where you are.
Here is absolutely fine. Yeah. It's a weird country. You can go not from safety wise, but where I am is pretty like big poverty. It's like, but you drive from here towards like 30 minutes away, and you've got a big mall. You've got Gucci being sold. There's such a divide in Indonesia between the rich and the poor. It's what they call a developing country. But as far as safety, I probably feel safer here than I would in the UK. Papua is another thing, but even where I took Ryan and stuff in Raja Ampat it's ridiculously safe. They want tourists there. As soon as you start heading east into Papua New Guinea proper, then it's that's when the stories come. Where Ari's going to Wamena and stuff like that. I wouldn't go there. It's not safe.
Hey, Ari has some crazy stories. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but in Jakarta, I don't think you could find. It'd be exactly the same as the US, unless there's something political going on, and then that happens anywhere. That happens in the States, happens in the UK. So
Sure.
that's it.
Well, don't get Marshall going on politics, okay? We're ending the show.
I know. I'm trying to keep away from it.
Marshall, send us home, buddy. What do you got for Chris?
So how does the farm, how do you have, I'm assuming you've got like protocols set in place for, like you mentioned earlier, like you're always watching the weather. Are the cages set up and are the enclosures set up in a way that you have to do anything like manipulate them if the temperatures get to a certain point, or like just like there's a whatever, a typhoon coming through? Like, is there certain things that you do, or are they designed to just ride it out?
All the outdoor enclosures have got an area where they can get away from the elements, basically. So a lot of them have got sliding roofs to keep the rain out. Rain's the real big problem. I'm not actually that bothered about temperatures dropping because it never gets like ridiculously. It's cold, but the next day they'll warm up sufficiently. It's not like prolonged periods. The main one is things getting wet and cold. So we don't want that. So all the those outdoor chondro cages have got sliding roofs, basically. So if we see any rain or any rain starts, the guys will actually go out and then just slide those roofs shut. And then indoors is exactly the same. Typhoons and stuff, we're pretty lucky. We get some pretty bad storms. But like I said, every single cage has got an area where it can get away from the elements, basically.
Interesting.
Excellent.
Badass, man. What a great episode. I mean, my last thing for you, Chris, I mean, for anyone out there who's unsure, but is still wanting to explore the options of imports, what would you have to say to them? For anyone they don't know how to maybe reapproach this? And also, have you talked to everyone who was involved? Like, is everyone on the same page right now?
Obviously, I've spoken to Ashley, and then I'm getting, different things going on with like this. I can just see in the comments now about refunds. That's something Ashley didn't know about. But if I've been speaking to the owner here, basically, and saying if people really can't trust us anymore and they really don't want to do it, we're going to have to obviously explore that. I'm really, my job is to speak to Ashley, the importer, and then Ashley speaks to the customers. If anyone wants to message me and wants any reassurance or anything, then they can come to me, and that's a unique situation from any exporter ever, basically. But if like I said, speak to Ashley. I'm relaying stuff back to Ashley all the time, trying to sort this situation out as best for everyone. Like we don't mind about the biggest thing for me is the reputation on our sides. Like we've got an issue with this shipment, and we need to make it right as best we can so everyone's happy. As best as we can. So yeah, that's all we can do about it. But Ashley's having to deal with the actual customers that she sells to. I don't know that step. Unfortunately, Ashley's like the middle person. You've got the final customer, and then you've got me here trying to do everything I can from my end. But yeah, nobody needs to lose any confidence or anything like that. Going forward, obviously we want to test anything. We're looking into that. Like I said, we might just shut down on the chondro side of things until we can get all those sort of protocols in place. I would like to get the stuff that I've bred sort of batch tested by someone that I trust. So if, send a certain amount of the ones that we do breed, they might not show any signs, send them over to one of our importers, get them to nido test there. If we've still got an issue then we're obviously going to have to look into more protocols. So yeah, that's all I can do going forward. But everyone's got to be made right. That's the most important thing I want to get out there. And if anyone really wants to speak to me, then I'm an open book.
There you go. There you have it, my man. I appreciate you so much, guys. Please, Varanda's Vault here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network. You've been doing a great job, man. As much as you got so much going over there, your commitment to the network does not go unnoticed. I appreciate all your work, dude. And again, I'm a big fan of everything you have going on over there. And I appreciate you, man. But guys, do me a favor. Go follow Chris right now. Find all the links in the description below and hit him up if you have any questions. But it's a wrap for the homie Chris Applin. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
Well done, Chris.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Well
Man,
done.
This was awesome.
Thanks, man. Have a good night, Chris, or have a good day.
Good day.
Have a good day.
Cheers, guys.
Talk to
Again.
you soon. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Good episode, man. What did you guys think?
I thought it
thought
was
it was
awesome.
great.
I love getting an outside perspective like that, especially from somebody who's able to keep them outside and kind of in their natural habitat. That sounds like a really cool opportunity he got there.
Yeah. I mean, when stuff's out in the wild, when stuff's being kept outside, you see different stuff, different behaviors and all sorts of shit. So I can only imagine what he's experiencing working with them the way he's doing right now. So, but I wish him all the best, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, all right, Bill, I'm sure you got to get going. You got quite the busy schedule ahead of you with all the babies and Marshall, fucking whatever you're doing. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Red Mountain Herbs, go give them a follow. And of course, the mayor, Phoenix Reptiles, go subscribe. But it's a wrap for the homie Bill and Marshall, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see you guys next week, right?
See y'all.
Next Tuesday?
Special. Next Tuesday, Christmas special.
Next Tuesday.
Don't want to miss it. Next Tuesday.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
I got something special for you guys.
We all do. All right. Have a good night, boys. See you later.
Later.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you liked best. But hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. If you hit that notification bell, select all, you'll be reminded of every podcast release out of the network 7 days a week. The only reptile network giving you brand new episodes every day of the week. And you can listen to all these episodes on all major audio platforms. Thank you for all the love and support. Does not go unnoticed. Okay. Appreciate all the messages that I get from you guys. I'm going to keep doing this and it ain't going to stop. Of course, if you're looking for exclusive content, please join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Find the link in the description below. Connect to the Instagram Discord. It's awesome. Good stuff, man. Shout out to the sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Shout out to David Brahms. And also shout out to the Reptile Super Show happening January 10th and 11th at the Pomona Fairgrounds. It's going to go down, man. But that's all we have this on the Tree Tuesday. Thank you so much for your support. Have a good night. And again, check out my sponsors before you hit the hat.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, and plenty other arboreal snakes have been quite the popularity here at the Trap Talk Reptile Network, which brings me to today's sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Head over to the reptileperch.com and Reptile Perch on Instagram. See what type of design PVC perch is best for your arboreal reptile. But first and foremost, I would also check out David Brahms' Green Tree Python availability on the website. And you can also check out his Instagram just to stay current on any projects or any productions that he posts. Thank you so much, David Brahms, for your ongoing support. Looking forward to seeing what you have to show in the 2025 season. When you think about building a good community and being a leader of that community, nobody comes to mind better than Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. That's right. Make sure you head over to TX Chondros on Instagram and also head over to Mark's website. See what he has available Green Tree Python wise and be ready for quite the 2025 Green Tree Python breeding season out of Mark Hager. He's a veteran in the Green Tree Python game, one of the best and nicest breeders in the Green Tree Python game. He's been putting on the whole state of Texas for as long as I've known him. So if you want to see all the amazing other chondro keepers out of the state of Texas, another good reason to go follow Mark Hager over at TX Chondros on Instagram. And again, head over to his website, texaschondros.com. You can find all the links in the description below. Thank you so much, Mark Hager, for supporting the Trap. Treat.